Okay, hi year 10s. I'm going to look at doing some online homework help and just want you to go forward understanding this next academic year. There'll be two pieces of homework set a week. One will be written, one will be online, and then we're going to try and limit the online homework to My Maths so that it gives you a stable and set format going forward. Okay, and this is hopefully going to expand and also underpin any knowledge that's needed. Alright, so the key thing for me is please try and complete all the homework set. Okay, if you've got problems accessing My Maths or anything, online devices, things like that, let me know, and then I will sort out getting you some sort of computer access within school so that you can do it, so that we're not falling behind. Unfortunately, the piece of homework that was set, I've had 15 people out of 29 complete it, so that's a lot of people that are going to fall behind if they're not accessing this particular work. So please let me know if you need any help for that. Also let me know if you do need any help going forward for any topics. I will put them on my YouTube channel. Okay. As you can see, we've got some homework helps I've just started doing as well, so I'm going to try and develop this more over the course of the next academic year to support you guys. Alright, so any things that you don't understand, drop me an email, let me know, talk to me in class, and I will put a how-to video to try and support you on there. Okay, so going forward through this homework, okay, y equals MX+C. There's two questions on it. Okay, one was to label each graph with the correct equation, and then the second question was to work out the equation for each graph in the form of y equals MX+C. Alright, so we're just going to talk through each question and then put in the answers. So, thinking about what we know already, if we look at this first graph, okay, we know for a fact just from the gradient on the graph, just from the way the graph looks, this graph, if you imagine that a car is always going to drive from the left to the right, okay, so it's always going to come from this side and we're going to go up. If it's going up, it's got to be positive. Okay, if the car keeps coming on here, this one's going to go down, so we know this is going to be negative. Okay, if we're coming this way, again the car would hit there and then come down, that's going to be negative, and then the car's going to come across and then go down again. So we've got three that's going down. So one we can definitely put in straight away. We know that this one is a positive gradient, and if we think about the y equals MX+C, we should know that the m is the gradient figure. So I need that first figure, the coefficient of x, the number in front of x, to be a positive figure. So on this one, y equals, that's my m figure, that's negative, so it can't be that one. This one's y equals a half, that's positive. This one's negative a third, and this one's negative 2x. Okay, so I know for a fact the only positive one I've got is this one here, so I can drag that across. Alright, we've got one solved. Okay, now if we're looking at the gradient, okay, we're looking at to see firstly how steep the line is. So looking at what I've got left, I've got -2, -2 and -1/3. So I've got two lines that look the same, that's these two. So they're going to be my -2's, okay? And then the next one is -1/3, that's the one that's left out. So we haven't done any maths, all we've done is we've looked at one figure, all right, just the m, the gradient, okay? Now we know these two are the same. Now the thing we've got left is the +c. Now this one is, the +c is +0 because there's nothing there. So one of these crosses at 0, and one of these crosses the y-axis at +1. And if we look at these two graphs, this one crosses at 0 and this one crosses the y-axis at +1. So from there we can put those in there. Okay, so again, positive gradient if it's going up, negative gradient if it's going down. Okay, these two were both the same, positive, -2, -2. And the only difference between these two is where it crosses the y-axis, and that is what my c value is there. Okay, so my c value is always the plus bit on the end. If we look at this one, the c value here is -2, it crosses at -2. If we look at this graph, it crosses at +1, +1. Okay, so I'm happy with those. Let's click mark it. On to question 2. Writing equations from graphs. So the thing that we're going to look at for a start is y equals m of x, and then is it plus or minus, and then what value is it? Okay, so the easiest thing to try and do is to try and look at the y-intercept first. Okay, so looking at the y-intercept, where does it cut the y-axis? Well, on this one it cuts the y-axis up here at positive 4. So this bit is going to be positive 4. What about this one? This one cuts it at, again, positive 1, 2, 3, positive 3, positive 3. This one cuts it at positive 1, positive 1, and this one again cuts it at positive 2. So we're counting up from the 0. If we're going up, it's positive. If we're going down, it's negative. Okay, so straight away we've got 1 mark on each of these because we're fairly confident with that. Now the gradient is how many squares. If we go along 1 square, how many squares are we going up or going down? Okay, so I'm going to start with this one here. I'm starting here, and if I go 1 square along, I'm actually dropping. If I drop it, I know it's coming from this side, I know it's going to be a negative gradient. So I know this is going to start with a negative, but how many squares do I drop? So 1 square along, and I drop 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm dropping 4 squares. Okay. Look at the next one. Now this is slightly more difficult to see because if I go 1 square along from here, okay, how many squares am I actually going up? Okay, because again, it's quite difficult to see, it's quite steep. So I find 2 points that intersect. I've got one that intersects just here. Okay, and if I come down here, I've got another one that intersects just down here. So I'm not going to start at that point there. Okay, I'm going to start at this point because I want to go left to right. So I start at this point. Okay, I go across 1 square. How many do I go up to where it intersects? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this time it's not coming down, it's going up. So that's going to be 1 across, 1, 2, 3, 4. So positive 4. So 4x plus 1. Look at the next one. I'm looking for 2 places that intersect again. We know one intersects just here, and we can see one intersects just here. So I'm going to start at this point. I'm going to go 1 square along, and I'm going up 2. So in effect, I try and make a triangle where the 2 things intersect. Okay, we made the triangle this side, it's coming down. We made a triangle this side where it's going up. We made a triangle this side from there. 1 step along, going up 2. So positive 2. And then the last one, I know it intersects here at the point plus 2. Where does it cross? Again, at a point all the way down here, and that's going to be negative 1, 2, 3. So negative 3. Now this one, if I go across 1 square, it doesn't go to an intersection point at all. Okay, so I'm going to have to go 2 squares across. 1, 2, and it's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going 2 squares across. Okay, so 2 squares across and 5 squares up. 2 squares across, 5 squares up. Okay, if it was 1, it would go 1, 2 and a half. And if you think 5 divided by 2, 2 goes into 5 2 times, 1 left over, so 2.5 is the gradient. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top number is always my rise on gradient, bottom number is always my run. So my x coordinates, change in x is my run at the bottom, change in y is my 5 at the top. Okay, mark that. Okay, click see your summary. It tells you what grade you've got, what mark you've got. Okay, if there's one of those that you then struggle with, or you really can't get at all, let me know, and I can put a helpful video, a how-to video on to try and help you guys understand that. All right. Okay, always then click finish and close. If you click finish and close, then that locks your scores in. Okay, don't click practice. If you click practice, it will go back and restart it. So finish and close, and that will be your homework completed.